Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about all the latest NBA news, and in this NBA news video, we actually have some news about Andre Drummond and a potential team that he could sign to in free agency, or even potentially be traded to, when the deadline does come around. If really, I think the Pistons think that they can't re-sign him, who knows, they might look to trade him. But again, more of that later in the video, but that team is going to be the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks are reportedly seeking a big man to add alongside Kristaps Porzingis for added interior presence, per Woj. Now, this is, I think, a really good move from Dallas. Now, the reason I think this is a good move is because Luka is literally an unstoppable force. He is an unstoppable talent. Anyone who thought there was the slightest chance of him being even a little bit overrated is just not right. He has taken this Dallas team to absolutely new heights, and they have been absolutely really good this year. They're currently third in the West with an 18-8 record at the time of making this video, and he is literally the main reason about that. And they went about it well. Yes, some of their acquisitions were a little bit interesting. I didn't honestly think they'd be this good so far this year, but obviously Seth Curry and players like that have been a very good addition to the Dallas Mavericks. So yeah, I just think that's obviously extremely interesting in my opinion. And yeah, I think one thing that would add to that is, let's just say you pretty much give Luka Doncic the ball. He's the point guard from now on. He takes the ball up, he runs all the plays and all of that type of stuff. He is a great shooter. Now, if you give him two big men that are almost nearly impossible to out-rebound, who is literally going to stop this team? Let's just say you got Luka Doncic bringing up the ball, who is a very good shooter, especially with the numbers that he puts up. You know, three-point shooting is a little bit different. He's currently 32% from the floor. Not exactly the best, I guess, from three, those type of numbers. But when you watch him, you don't really notice that. And I'd still say he is a decent three-point shooter, but his mid-range is absolutely class. 62%. It's very good, and he obviously has a pretty high usage rate. If you give him those two players, they're going to rebound all those times that he does miss the ball. And plus, you might be like, oh, but spacing, though. Kristaps is a pretty decent shooter, especially for his height, but when it comes to power forwards, he's not exactly that special anymore, considering he's shooting 33% from three this season, which is obviously not exactly the best. But then you've still got, Seth Curry, who will be around 41% from three. That is absolutely crazy. Tim Hardaway is a pretty good three-point shooter, 36%. These type of players, and I'm sure they would go out and potentially get other players like that. And yeah, everyone else on their team is pretty average shooters. No one really on here that is exactly necessarily a bad shooter. So it kind of, spacing is not exactly the worst thing. I would definitely, I would insert Seth Curry into the starting lineup if I do have, potentially Andre Drummond and Kristaps starting, because obviously it gives very good shooting, and I just think would help out very well. Obviously, Seth Curry can guard the point guard, and Doncic can guard the shooting guard or small forward, whatever they wish to decide to do. But when the offseason does come around, keep in mind they still have Luka Doncic on the rookie contract, which is absolutely crazy to think about. Kristaps is on a sweet contract. It's not overpriced, it's not underpriced. Tim Hardaway Jr. is obviously on a pretty bad contract, and he's actually been coming off the bench for half the games pretty much this year. I'm sure they would most likely look to trade him. Then they would potentially, get rid of that cap, and then they've still got heaps of cap here and there as well. They've got Seth Curry on a big 4-year, $8 million. It's not exactly the best deal, but when this man's shooting 41% from three on a very, low usage rate, they've still got Jalen Brunson, I believe, on his rookie contract. Their contracts are in a very sweet situation. If they didn't want to pay Dwight Powell anymore, they could trade him. They could literally have another max spot, and maybe even more cap after that to potentially go with in this free agent. They could get Drummond on that $25 million deal that he's reportedly looking to get, which is not even a max position. They could literally get him on like $25 million and still potentially have 10 to maybe $25 million to spend. Because keep in mind, let's just say they even get rid of Tim Hardaway Jr., they may have like another max spot to potentially try and go after, which I highly doubt. But again, Andre Drummond's probably going to not go on a max. Kristaps is just on a max, I believe. they are going to have a lot of cap to potentially work around with here. And I think it would be extremely interesting to, try and see what other player they can try and get. Obviously, I'm sure there would be some good, shooters in the free agent market. That is obviously like a guarantee at this point. I think, yeah, get some shooters on the team and partner them up with Andre Drummond and Kristaps and Luka, and literally that would be an unstoppable force. Like that would almost be the best team in the NBA. I feel like, because who's gonna out rebound Kristaps and obviously Andre Drummond? Who's really going to out-rebound them? It's going to be a little bit of an interesting task. A player who I think would be kind of cool to see is see them potentially go after would obviously be Goran Dragic, who they were rumored to look to try and get. He is a very, very good three-point shooter so far this year. Like, he's been absolutely balling out. I think it would be really cool for him to come off the bench and potentially be their three-point shooter that they need. Again, I think he might actually look to leave Miami due to, the reports that he's not guaranteed a contract. That's maybe not necessarily right, the money. He's actually shooting 40% from three this year, which is absolutely crazy. Get him to the team. I think Marc Gasol would be a pretty cool addition to have into the team. And again, they'd have a double center coming off the bench with pretty much Boban and Gasol, but I honestly don't think they really care at this point. That would still be absolutely insane and would add heaps of shooting, obviously, to the team. So I definitely see something like that happen. And yeah, I'm sure there's quite a bit of other shooters that are in free agency that they could definitely go after. So I do expect them to potentially try and do that. But yeah, anyone, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA and sports content. Don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on them potentially trying to get Andre Drummond, on Dallas Mavericks trying to get Andre Drummond? I definitely would really like to know your thoughts and opinions down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. The links for them are also in the description down below. So make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.